Every woman may meet many men in her life, but there's only one kind she will fight to keep. The kind she fears losing. These men don't beg, they don't chase, and they don't compromise their worth. They carry qualities so rare that once a woman experiences them, she knows letting go would be her biggest mistake. When it comes to the kind of man every woman fears losing, one of the most powerful traits he carries is emotional stability and self-control. Women are naturally drawn to men who know how to manage themselves in the middle of storms, who don't break down or react impulsively every time life throws a challenge their way. A man who is emotionally stable doesn't allow his emotions to dictate his actions. He understands that his strength isn't shown by yelling, panicking, or begging for attention, but by maintaining composure even in situations that could break most people. This quality makes him dependable, and dependability is something every woman craves deeply, but rarely finds. She knows that when things get tough, this man won't lose his balance, and that assurance makes him stand out as someone irreplaceable. Emotional stability is not about being emotionless or cold. It's about having a grounded core. Such a man feels emotions but does not let those emotions drag him into chaos. He can feel anger, sadness, or disappointment, yet he knows how to channel those feelings into productive energy rather than destructive behavior. If he is disrespected, he doesn't instantly lash out. If he is challenged, he doesn't crumble under pressure. His strength comes from understanding that control over self is the highest form of control a man can ever have. This level of self-mastery naturally builds respect not just from women, but from everyone around him. People trust a man who is calm under pressure, and trust is the foundation of deep emotional connection. Women may test a man emotionally, sometimes consciously and sometimes unconsciously, to see how strong he truly is. When a man loses his composure too easily, whether by becoming jealous, insecure, or desperate, he exposes weakness. But the man who stands firm, who doesn't get triggered by every little thing, silently communicates that he is on another level. He shows that his emotions are his own responsibility, not someone else's problem to fix. This creates a powerful dynamic where she begins to respect him on a deeper level because she knows he is not like the majority who collapse under emotional pressure. Instead, he becomes the anchor she can rely on, the steady presence she doesn't want to lose. Self-control is equally magnetic because it reflects discipline. A man who has self-control doesn't give in to every temptation, doesn't waste his time chasing validation, and doesn't need to prove himself by acting out. He knows when to speak and when to remain silent. He knows when to walk away rather than argue endlessly. He knows how to hold back his impulses because he values his peace of mind over temporary satisfaction. This discipline extends into every area of his life, his goals, his relationships, his personal growth. A man with self-control shows that he owns himself completely, and ownership of self is what makes him highly attractive and highly feared to be lost. What women fear most is losing the man who can remain calm in the heat of conflict, the man who doesn't let emotions cloud his judgment, the man who doesn't beg for love but commands respect by how he carries himself. His stability is rare and rarity is valuable. In a world full of emotional chaos, he becomes the calm in the storm. She knows that if she loses him, she will likely never find another with the same level of strength and groundedness. This is why emotional stability and self-control are not just attractive traits. They are traits that make a man unforgettable and almost impossible to replace. A man who lives with purpose carries an aura that sets him apart from the rest. He is not wandering aimlessly hoping that someone else will give him meaning or direction. Instead, his life has a mission, a vision, and a drive that cannot be ignored. This kind of man doesn't wake up in the morning asking what the world owes him. He wakes up asking what he must do today to move closer to his goals. Purpose gives him an energy that radiates from within, and that energy is magnetic. Women are naturally drawn to men who know where they are going because a man with direction creates a sense of security and admiration that no material possession can replace. She sees in him not just a partner, but a force, a leader, someone who has carved his own path and walks it unapologetically. A purpose-driven man doesn't rely on relationships to complete him. He is already complete because his identity is rooted in his mission. His focus is not on being validated or constantly seeking attention. His focus is on building, achieving, and growing. This independence is deeply attractive because it shows he is not needy. A woman respects the man who has something bigger than her in his life, not because she is unimportant, but because she understands that his life is guided by a vision greater than fleeting emotions. This makes her value him even more because she knows she cannot easily distract him from what truly matters. In her eyes, that determination makes him rare, and rarity always creates fear of loss. When a man has a purpose, he commands respect effortlessly. People listen when he speaks because his words are backed by conviction. He doesn't drift from one idea to another or live only for instant gratification. He has discipline, patience, and resilience because he knows his journey requires sacrifice. A woman looks at that and feels both inspired and challenged. Inspired because his drive motivates her to rise higher, and challenged because she knows not every man is cut from this cloth. She becomes aware that losing him would mean losing someone who elevates her simply by being in his presence. His purpose doesn't just give meaning to his life, it gives meaning to the lives of those around him. Purpose-driven men also carry a sense of confidence that doesn't need to be loud. It's not arrogance, but certainty. He knows who he is and where he is heading, and that certainty is powerful. While many men collapse under confusion or wander endlessly, he stays steady, eyes fixed on his long-term vision. This stability in direction makes him trustworthy, and trust is something every woman fears losing once she finds it. When she realizes that his life has depth, that he is not just surviving but building a legacy, she knows walking away from him would mean walking away from someone irreplaceable. Another powerful dimension of a purpose-driven life is the way it prevents a man from being consumed by temporary emotions or distractions. He doesn't waste his time chasing meaningless drama because he knows his time is valuable. He doesn't indulge in things that derail his progress because his mission requires focus. This detachment from distractions makes him more disciplined, more self-respecting, and more appealing. A woman sees that his standards are high, not only for himself, but for those he allows into his life. She knows she must rise to those standards if she wants to remain close to him, and that awareness creates both admiration and fear of losing him. In essence, a man with a purpose becomes a man with gravity. People orbit around him because his energy, his vision, and his actions pull them in naturally. Women in particular recognize the power of such a man. They know he will not be easily swayed. They know he does not depend on anyone else to define him, and they know that his path is unique. That uniqueness is what makes him unforgettable and difficult to replace. Once a woman experiences the strength of a man with purpose, she carries the silent fear that losing him means losing something she will not find again. Confidence is one of the most magnetic qualities a man can possess, but unshakable confidence is on another level entirely. This is not the loud, arrogant kind of confidence that tries to prove something to the world. It is the calm, grounded assurance that a man has in who he is, what he stands for, and what he is capable of achieving. A man with unshakable confidence does not crumble under criticism, rejection, or comparison because his self-worth is not tied to fleeting opinions. He knows his value without needing external validation, and that inner security makes him stand tall in every room he walks into. This type of man doesn't have to speak loudly to be noticed. His very presence commands attention because people can feel the certainty within him. Women in particular are drawn to this kind of strength because it makes them feel safe, inspired, and challenged at the same time. Unshakable confidence comes from self-acceptance. A man who has accepted himself fully, his flaws, his strengths, his past, and his future, cannot be easily manipulated. He doesn't chase approval because he already carries the approval of his own conscience. He doesn't try to become someone he's not in order to impress others because he knows authenticity is the greatest form of power. This authenticity creates trust, and trust is a rare currency in relationships. A woman knows that when she is with a confident man, she does not have to worry about hidden insecurities erupting in destructive ways. His steadiness gives her stability, and that stability is what makes her fear losing him. She understands that most men are shaken by insecurity, but the man who has conquered his doubt stands apart as someone unforgettable. Another layer of unshakable confidence is the way it influences how a man carries himself in relationships. He does not beg for love or attention, nor does he fall apart when things don't go his way. If a woman pulls away, he doesn't chase in desperation. If challenges arise, he doesn't drown in self-pity. Instead, he trusts himself enough to handle whatever comes his way. This level of composure makes him incredibly attractive because it communicates that his emotional state is under his own control. Women deeply respect a man who does not hand over the keys to his peace of mind. When she realizes that she cannot shake his foundation, she begins to see him as rare. And what is rare is always feared to be lost. Unshakable confidence also fuels ambition. A man who believes in himself doesn't wait for permission to pursue his goals. He moves forward even when the path is uncertain because his faith in himself outweighs the fear of failure. This forward motion creates a sense of momentum in his life, and that momentum is inspiring to everyone around him. A woman watching a confident man build, achieve, and overcome feels a mix of admiration and desire because she knows he is not ordinary. She knows he will not settle for less, and she knows that losing him would mean losing the fire that ignites her own growth. His confidence becomes contagious, lifting not just himself, but also those who walk beside him. The beauty of unshakable confidence is that it cannot be faked. Arrogance tries to mask insecurity, but true confidence is silent power. It shows in a man's eyes, in his posture, in the way he listens without feeling the need to dominate, and in the way he speaks, without seeking constant agreement. He does not need to compare himself to others because he is too focused on becoming the best version of himself. A woman senses this authenticity instantly, and it creates a powerful connection. She fears losing him not because he tries to trap her with words or games, but because his very being represents something she may never find again if she lets it slip away. True leadership and strength go far beyond physical power or holding a position of authority. They are about presence, guidance, and the ability to provide direction when confusion and uncertainty take over. A man with leadership and strength naturally becomes someone others look up to, not because he demands respect, but because he embodies qualities that command it without words. He is the type of man who knows how to handle pressure, make decisions with clarity, and remain steady when others fall apart. Women in particular are deeply drawn to such men because leadership makes them feel secure and strength makes them feel protected. These qualities combined create a presence that is difficult to find and even harder to forget. When a woman encounters a man with true leadership, she instinctively fears losing him because she knows his kind is rare. Leadership does not mean controlling others or enforcing dominance. It means guiding with wisdom and standing firm when situations demand clarity. A man with leadership qualities is decisive, yet he listens. He has the ability to understand situations from a broader perspective rather than reacting impulsively. This balanced decision-making creates trust because people know they can rely on him. In relationships, this manifests as stability. A woman feels she can lean on him without worrying that he will fold under the weight of responsibility. His calm confidence in leading both himself and those around him sets him apart. He becomes a source of direction, and that direction is something a woman does not want to lose once she has experienced it. Strength in this sense is not just physical, but deeply emotional and mental. It is the resilience to handle challenges without breaking, the courage to stand up for values even when it is uncomfortable, and the ability to protect not just physically, but also emotionally. A strong man provides a sense of safety in his presence. When life gets difficult, he does not run away or hide behind excuses. He faces the storm with a steady hand and unyielding resolve. This type of strength is what women admire deeply because it creates a powerful contrast to men who collapse under stress. She knows that by his side, she will not have to carry burdens alone, and that assurance makes him incredibly valuable. Leadership and strength also reflect in how a man treats others. A true leader does not belittle or intimidate. Instead, he uplifts, supports, and creates an environment where people feel motivated to rise higher. He leads by example, not by empty words. His strength allows him to set boundaries without hostility, to protect without controlling, and to inspire without needing to manipulate. This balance is rare and beautiful, and women intuitively recognize it. They know that such men are not only dependable, but also bring out the best in those around them. To lose such a man would be to lose a source of both protection and inspiration, which creates a deep sense of fear of losing him. Another dimension of leadership and strength is vision. A man with these traits does not live passively waiting for life to dictate his path. He has goals, plans, and the determination to make them real. His strength fuels his persistence, and his leadership ensures he can bring others along with him on that journey. This creates a magnetic pull because people want to be part of something greater than themselves, and women especially are drawn to men who know where they are going. She sees him not just as a partner, but as a guide, someone who makes her feel safe while also challenging her to grow. That combination of guidance and strength is powerful. And once a woman experiences it, the thought of losing it becomes almost unbearable. The kind of man who carries leadership and strength becomes more than just a partner in a relationship. He becomes an anchor. He provides clarity when emotions cloud judgment. He offers strength when the world becomes overwhelming, and he stands as a shield when challenges arise. His presence alone is enough to create stability in any environment, and this makes him unforgettable in a woman's life. One of the most defining traits of a man every woman fears losing is his ability to uphold respect and boundaries. This quality is not always spoken about, but it is one of the most powerful aspects of masculine energy that leaves a lasting impact. A man who respects himself first and then others creates a standard of behavior that cannot be ignored. He doesn't allow anyone to treat him beneath his worth. And at the same time, he treats people with dignity and fairness. This balance of self-respect and outward respect makes him magnetic because it is a quality that is both rare and highly valued. Women are instinctively drawn to such men not only because they feel safe with them, but also because they understand that he is not a man who can be taken for granted. Once a woman experiences this level of presence, she naturally fears losing it because she knows most men do not embody such strength of character. Respect in this sense is more than just politeness or good manners. It is rooted in a man's inner sense of worth. When he respects himself, it shows in how he speaks, how he carries himself, and the standards he sets for his life. He does not tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or mistreatment because he knows those behaviors only erode the value of a relationship. He also doesn't lower his standards for the sake of temporary validation. This makes him different from the majority who often compromise on their values in the pursuit of acceptance. A man with true respect understands that love cannot exist without it, and so he embodies this principle at every level of his life. A woman with him feels both admiration and accountability because his very presence demands that she rise to meet the standards he has set. Losing him would mean losing the chance to stand beside someone who truly knows his worth. Boundaries are another powerful dimension that make a man unforgettable. Many men fail in this area because they confuse boundaries with selfishness, when in reality, boundaries are what create healthy relationships. A man with strong boundaries does not allow his time, his energy, or his emotions to be drained by those who do not value him. He knows when to say no. He knows when to walk away. And he knows that giving endlessly without limits only leads to being taken for granted. This level of discipline makes him rare because most people live without boundaries, constantly bending under pressure just to be liked. A woman deeply respects a man who has the courage to set limits because it shows that he values himself enough to protect his peace. She fears losing him because she knows such men are not easily found. Men who can love deeply, yet still protect their individuality and self-worth. Respect and boundaries also shape how a man treats the woman in his life. He will never disrespect her with lies, manipulation, or carelessness. At the same time, he will never allow her to disrespect him. This balance creates a dynamic of mutual admiration where both partners are challenged to give their best. A woman feels secure with such a man because she knows he will never lose himself in the relationship, and that stability keeps the connection strong. She also knows that if she crosses his boundaries repeatedly, he will not hesitate to walk away, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. That knowledge keeps her grounded and makes her value him even more because she understands that she cannot play games with a man who respects himself. What makes this combination so powerful is how it elevates the relationship as a whole. When a man lives by respect and boundaries, he naturally creates a space where love can flourish without toxicity. He builds a relationship rooted in trust, where both partners know exactly what will and will not be tolerated. This clarity removes confusion and creates peace. A woman recognizes this peace as priceless. And once she experiences it, she fears losing it because she knows it cannot be replaced by just anyone. Respect and boundaries, though often overlooked, are the very traits that make a man unforgettable in a woman's heart. The scarcity factor is one of the most subtle yet powerful traits that make a man unforgettable and deeply feared to be lost. It is the quality of not being easily available, not being accessible to everyone, and not living a life that revolves around pleasing others. A man who embodies scarcity is rare because he does not give his time, attention, or energy freely to just anyone. He is selective, intentional, and guarded about who gets access to him. This makes his presence feel valuable because it is not something that can be found around every corner. Women recognize this energy immediately. When a man is scarce in the right way, without arrogance or games, he creates a magnetic pull. She begins to feel that being in his life is a privilege, not an entitlement. And the fear of losing him intensifies because she knows men like him are few and far between. Scarcity does not mean playing hard to get or pretending to be busy. It is about genuinely living a life filled with purpose, direction, and standards so high that not everyone qualifies to be close. A man with scarcity factor doesn't need to prove his worth or chase validation because his life is already full. He has goals, passions, and priorities that come first, and this naturally reduces his availability. Women respect this deeply because it communicates strength. It shows that his world is not centered around seeking approval or chasing people who do not add value. This makes him rare because most men bend over backwards trying to gain acceptance, while the scarce man stands firm in who he is. That firmness is what makes him unforgettable. Another dimension of scarcity is the way it creates mystery and anticipation. When a man does not overshare, When he doesn't make himself constantly accessible, he leaves space for curiosity to grow. A woman begins to wonder about his thoughts, his time, his priorities, and this curiosity creates deeper attraction. His time with her feels special because it is not something she can have on demand. Unlike men who flood her with constant attention, his limited availability makes every interaction more meaningful. This scarcity gives weight to his presence. When he speaks, she listens more intently. When he gives time, she treasures it. When he invests energy, she values it. Losing him would mean losing something she knows she cannot easily replace, and that thought plants a quiet fear in her mind. Scarcity also shows itself in standards. A man with this quality does not tolerate disrespect, drama, or games. He is quick to walk away from anything that does not align with his values. This ability to detach is what sets him apart from the masses who tolerate anything for the sake of keeping someone close. His boundaries combined with his unwillingness to settle make him rare. A woman realizes that if she does not value him properly, someone else will, and she may lose him forever. That awareness creates respect and admiration because she knows that this man will not cling desperately. He is confident enough to step away, and that confidence makes her fight harder to keep him. What makes the scarcity factor even more powerful is its connection to independence. A scarce man is not needy or desperate because he has built a life that fulfills him without depending on constant validation. His sense of fulfillment comes from within, and this makes him stand out. Women are highly perceptive of this independence. They see that he is not the type to collapse if someone leaves him, and that emotional detachment makes him appear even stronger. She fears losing him because she understands he will move forward with or without her. That realization creates urgency within her to cherish what she has because she knows he is not waiting in line to be chosen. He chooses, and once he is gone, he may never return. The scarcity factor ultimately makes a man irreplaceable. His limited availability, his high standards, and his independence combine to create a presence that feels rare in a world where most people give themselves away too easily. Women know instinctively that finding such a man again is unlikely, and this scarcity is what makes him so valuable. His presence becomes a gift, his attention becomes a treasure, and his love becomes something to protect fiercely. Because losing him would mean losing something extraordinary that cannot simply be replaced. At the end of the day, every woman fears losing the man who carries these traits because he is rare, he is valuable, and he is unforgettable. But remember, these qualities are not gifts. They are choices. Emotional stability, purpose, confidence, strength, respect, and scarcity are built through discipline and self-mastery. If you want to become that man, start today. Stop seeking validation. Stop lowering your standards and start living with direction. Because when you become the kind of man who cannot be replaced, the world treats you differently, and losing you becomes every woman's greatest fear.